one was. There's a lot of really good TEO's addition on that. So
I'm gonna go back and watch them.
I'm super excited for George Pratt tonight. I've been wanting to pick that guy's brain for a long time. So
yeah, it's cool that we can do it this way, and it doesn't. You don't have to go anywhere.
Make sure this. All right, I think we're rolling. So welcome back to Wonder What-A-Con, Day 2. This is Ingrid Rios. She's
Hello.
a writer and artist based in New York, correct?
Correct. Queens.
Also works at Midtown Comics. You do volunteer work at an animal shelter too, correct?
Yeah, at a cat shelter and an animal hospital.
So we're here with her to talk to her and let her share some of her experience with us. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I've been working at Midtown Comics since 2010. I work at the third location, which is by the South Street Seaport. So we're not actually in Midtown. So since 2010, I've been there. It's a huge part of my life. I really miss it right now. I went to art school. I've been reading comics for a really long time, but working at the shop gives me the opportunity to read everything, and you kind of have to, because you don't want to recommend something that you haven't read or something that might end up sucking. Some people think you have bad taste. But
yeah, you're constantly pushing new stuff that I've never seen or heard of. So
yeah, it's important to get new stuff out there, and I love it. I mean, when things are normal, I'd be so the Midtown Comics website updates like what's coming out next week every Wednesday. So somewhere around 2 or 3 o'clock, they update what's coming out the next week. And I'm always like at the computer. Well, Wednesdays I'm at work, so I'm like refreshing the button. Did they update what's coming out next week? What needs my money? So it's always like, it's always something to look forward to. It's a joy that, I don't know, I can enjoy it by myself and I can share it with other people. And I've always been a big reader of regular books, prose books and comics. So I've been really grateful to work at the shop. And my specific location, we do most of the signings just because the space allows for it, and it's not as crowded as Times Square, so we can accommodate big lines. So I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of really like amazing people that I admire a lot, and it's really cool. No, I'm really grateful.
Yeah, it's so
from the retailers.
From doing research on marketing for my own book and planning, individual outreach to over 300 stores. And that's how I, came across you initially. And then from following you and seeing your enthusiasm for getting books into readers and of course the cat gifts. And then recently seeing you've been posting more of your work and talking a little bit more about stuff you're working on. How has this kind of shutdown been impacting you that way as a creator?
I only work part-time. I just finished a veterinary assistant program in November. So I was working part-time because I was in school. Honestly, it's not that different from, it's just like I'm not going to work. That's kind of it. I do pretty much the same thing every day, but since I do have the extra days that I don't have to go to work, I'm making it a point to like set aside chunks of time to work on art. And yeah, I mean, I have a schedule now for working on my stuff, and I kind of did and kind of didn't before. It was just like, do I have the energy? My job, it's a cool job, but there are days where we have 10-hour shifts, and it's like, I'm not going home and drawing anything after that. I'm tired.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I'm not tired. I actually feel like drawing. Well, the stuff I feel like drawing anyway. I should be working on my pages, and I kind of am slowly, but since everything is really depressing, I kind of just want to draw cute things. So I've been balancing doing my pages and the cute stuff, the pet portraits and the weird political kind of things with cute animals in them. So I've been enjoying my time being able to work more. I wish it was more like regular life.
Yeah.
Like I could do my own stuff all the time, but I might as well take advantage.
That's good. I think a lot of people are right now too. I'm seeing like just such a huge influx of people turning to art or music or whatever to get through this. And on my end, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, me too. And I think it kind of makes everyone feel a little better. It's hard to feel connected to other people when we can't see them. So any bit of yourself that you can share, that you feel like sharing, it kind of comes as a comfort, I guess. I don't know. I like seeing other people's stuff. So more good stuff out. I don't, it's a distraction, which we need because we see enough of the depressing stuff.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to ask about your graphic novel project.
Yeah.
I think I saw recently you thought you were probably like about the halfway point on that.
Yeah. Last week I was supposed to be tabling at MoCA, which would have been my first time tabling at a convention. I've been working on a graphic novel for like 6 years, maybe 7 years. So I have a print copy of the first issue. It's the first 25 pages of the graphic novel, which I was going to be selling. This is a little bit older. What I'm working on now, I was supposed to be printed for MoCA, but once it got announced that it was postponed, I was stressing out about it. So I was like, well, I'm not working on that for a little while. I'm gonna put it down. So I'm inking those pages, which you showed. I have them here. It's seven pages. So I'm on page 4 of the inking.
Are you working at
This is
11
how
by
many
17
pages.
on those?
This is how many pages I have. What was that?
So are you working 11 by 17 on those pages? Traditional size?
Yes, yeah. It's 11 by 17 on Bristol. This is how many pages I have done. It's actually, there might be some other ones somewhere. I have about 70 pages done. If you are interested in reading the first issue, I can share the link. I have a tiny URL for it.
Yeah, I could put that in the
It's a heavy
description
read, so it might not be cool. So I guess I'll just send it to you and you can put it in.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I've been working on. That's pretty much it. I have like my cute stuff. You already showed it, like, like funny little animal art. I'm drawing some dinosaurs now. It's a little freeing. Like, no one's telling me what to do, so I can just kind of do whatever I want. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna just draw what I feel like and work when I feel like it. It's hard to feel like working, especially. So my graphic novel is about in 2008 I spent 60 days in an inpatient program at an eating disorder facility. So my book is about that, and it's really depressing and it's really heavy. So I don't always feel like working on it. It's hard to work on, especially if I'm trying to like move past with my life. So it's difficult, and I don't always feel like working on it. And when I don't, that's when I draw the cute stuff. It's important to me to finish it. I feel like I should be doing a little bit more on it now. I have to re-letter. I mentioned I have somewhere around 70 or 80 pages. I have to re-letter all of it because I lost the original files. So I'm not looking forward to that. But
Has
I do
that
have
process of working on the comic, I mean, has that been very cathartic for your healing?
Part of it, some of it makes me really, I feel really bad for my past self. But I don't know. I wish I could help my older self. That's what it makes me feel like. It was a sad existence. So it doesn't make me feel better. I would like to say it did. My hope is that it helps someone else, and that's kind of why I'm doing it. Starting out as a cartoonist, I didn't intend on doing autobio stuff, but I also felt like I hadn't read anything like what I had experienced, so it could be helpful to other people with the same problems, and also informative to people. A problem I really had was getting my family and people close to me to understand what I was going through, because it's a really difficult thing to understand the mindset of. So I found it is it's a way to get my thought process and just the things that I was going through internally, to get them out on page. So I didn't have to explain it, because people misunderstood it a lot. I couldn't get my family to understand. But about it, it's like instant understanding. I just hand them the book and they read it and they're like, oh, okay, now I get it. Like, it's not what I thought it was. So it's helpful. I mean, that's the best you can hope out of something that is kind of not. It was a destructive period. Not much good came out of it. So that's the good that can come out of it, is the story, the understanding, the empathy, the things that come with like opening yourself up to other people. Right. So I can, it might have some effect on me being able to completely move on from it, because I have to be attached to it. A lot of it is remembering things that I don't feel like remembering. But I hope it's worth it. I'm proud of a lot of the pages I've done, and I've had feedback from especially other women that have read it, and they felt like, oh, I might not have exactly gone through this, but I've gone through similar things, or I know there's someone in my family that has an eating disorder. So it serves a purpose. And I'm happy with it so far. I hope it doesn't take me another 6 years to finish it. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, if I'm unemployed for a long period of time, it might be done really quick. Who knows?
Right.
So just taking it a bit at a time.
Has Mocha been rescheduled, or are they just going to go for next year?
They said they're going to reschedule, and I've gotten no information. Okay. So I'm not sure. They haven't given me my money back. So we'll see. I mean, if things are normal later in the year, I might try to do cab or something. I also felt a little unprepared. I kind of got whisked away into tabling. Like, a friend of mine was like, "Do you want a table?" I was like, "I guess so." So yeah.
That's how it starts.
I didn't, yeah. I didn't exactly feel prepared, but I think this is like a driver, like psyching myself up for it. I've worked at cons. I volunteered at the CBLDF table a few years ago at MoCA, and I'm always working every New York Comic Con. Everyone has to work at the Midtown Comics booth, like, no matter what. So I'm used to the con crowd, just not selling my own stuff.
Gotcha. Is there any ideas you have from the retailer perspective of once things do kind of kick back into gear? As a creator community, what are some things that we can do to help our local comic stores, as far as really reestablishing a presence?
Yeah, that's really tough. I think in order for things to get back to normal, where it's kind of not that different than, like, I'm not gonna get political. I feel like we need to, as an industry, like, Diamond had too much control over everything. I think things should be sectioned off, so it's like, maybe this thing is in charge of distribution in the Northeast, and have it sectioned off so it's not just one group having control over everything. I think that having cooperative groups of smaller groups will, like, hold things up. And I feel like that in just communities in general, like, we can't depend on big companies, or I'm not going to talk about the government, but we kind of have to take responsibility for our own communities, and pull local people in, and cooperatively work with people around the country. I think it's going to have to be a smaller, much more collaborative effort to get things propped up again. And we can't depend on, a couple of big pillars holding everything up. We need, like, a stronger base of smaller people that care.
Right.
It's another thing that kind of pisses me off. I feel like a lot of people on the business end don't care enough about comics themselves and about the work itself. And I think the people that do, we should be the ones in charge.
Agreed. Brandon Graham was talking last night about how he kind of saw that smaller group kind of thing happening where comics would become a little bit more like music in regards to having more independent scenes and more local type scenes that would kind of keep the industry alive, that way
Yeah,
regardless.
like it's local communities nurturing, their neighbors. That's what it's
Yeah,
gonna be. It it could result in like floppy, single issue comics not making a full comeback, but people are gonna I'm still gonna keep making comics. Other people are still gonna do it. We're gonna find a way to get them out somehow.
yeah,
I mean, digital is great. I For some people, I can't read comics digitally. I like that I like the accessibility, but personally, I need to hold the book, and I need to like. I'm the kind of reader that I'll stop on a page and I'll dope out on it for a couple of minutes and sit there and maybe like look at something I like in the drawing for a while. And I can't do that on a digital device. It's not the same. But in the same token, like that's how I'm getting my comic out. I mean, I have a couple copies here, but they're not doing me any good if I can't, go out anywhere and sell them. But so it makes things more accessible, like music. You don't have to have a record deal. You just go on SoundCloud or Bandcamp and put your stuff out there, and maybe people will throw money at you.
right.
So yeah, the accessibility is better. I appreciate that a lot. And there are a lot of digital comics that I do read, just like strips and short things. So everything, all of the arts are kind of going through that. Even film, like movie theaters.
Yeah,
Bye,
yeah,
AMC. I'll see you later. We're all gonna have to adapt. It really sucks, but it leaves us kind of with no choice. Because I'm not, yeah, like I said, like I'm not gonna stop. People are not gonna stop making movies or music. We're gonna find another avenue to do it, and
do it.
we
Yeah,
might make less money. Like music, they kind of had to adapt sooner than film or books because the piracy started earlier.
yeah,
So they might be a little ahead, but it gives you the idea, like the record labels kind of lost their power, and musicians make their money off of going on tour now, and they sell their own stuff. They can make their own money on Bandcamp now and have millions of people like them still. So we'll figure something out. I
absolutely.
really wish, ideally, that all the comic shops will reopen and everything will be nice and happy again. But we can try our best to do that, like to get things to go back. But it doesn't hurt to explore new avenues of getting your stuff out there, and we'll figure them out.
Absolutely, and that's been a theme, that with everyone I've talked to is, um, at the end of the day, it's not going to change whether they make anything or not, So
Like, hey, I'm still, if I still have to pay off that art school tuition, I'm gonna keep using it. I didn't waste my time. Still paying it
right,
off after what? It's like 12 years later. Still have a ton. No, I'm grateful for it, but um,
so
I am a
you're
little good.
I'll let you finish. I was going to jump to the veterinary stuff.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Um, how long have you been pursuing that?
I actually started volunteering there's a cat shelter in Union Square in Manhattan. When I started working at Midtown, prior to that, I was going to school and I had 2 part-time jobs. So I was working about 50 hours a week. And then when Midtown hired me, it was for full-time. So I was working about 36 hours, I think, instead of the 50. So I had a lot more free time and I have a lot of anxiety. So free time is not good for me. So I was like, what can I do with this extra time that I will feel like I'm not wasting it? And I looked up animal shelters and I started volunteering there. This, like I said, the same time. So 2010 also. And about 3 years ago, I decided to get my veterinary assistant certification. So I did a 2-year program and I finished that in November. And I started part of the program was doing hours at an animal hospital. And I did my 100 hours. And after that, I just kept going because I liked it. I was like, well, I might as well keep doing it until I find a job. Like I ideally would like to do Midtown and an animal hospital, like maybe 2 days a week each. So I just kept going. And since I had a job already, I wasn't too worried about finding work, but we'll see what happens with that too. I did have an interview at an animal hospital literally like 3 days after my last day of work. But unfortunately, they can't hire anyone right now because they can only treat emergencies and like really sick animals because they need to preserve like the medical supplies. So the interview went well, but they were like, "We'll call you when this is over." So I I'm hopeful. I really love both of them. I love comics. Comics is my main love. If I could make money doing it, like make a living doing it, I would stick with that and just like volunteer my 1 day a week at the shelter and another day at the animal hospital. But I love them both. They fulfill something different inside of myself.
It's a
And
it's a
hugging
cool
kittens,
dichotomy.
yeah, one is like for my head and one is for my heart. It
Absolutely.
doing the cat shelter has done wonders in replacing therapy. There's
And
nothing like there's nothing like helping someone that can't someone I happen to not really like people that much, so I went for the animals. But it's really gratifying. So I keep doing it and I'm gonna keep doing it. All the cats are in foster homes right now, so there's no one at the shelter, which is really depressing. Uh, so like the highlight of my day is going on my morning jog and seeing other people's dogs and seeing other people's cats like looking out the window like, yes, I want to hug you, but I'm glad I could say hello. That's been the highlight of my day the last few weeks.
yeah, I love all the cat pictures you post, and definitely most of the cat gifts that I steal are from you, and I will continue doing so. So,
Please do.
uh, is there anything else you'd like to add? Where can people find you online? And again, I'll put a link for your comic and stuff in the description.
I don't have a site currently. I just have my Instagram, just Ingrid underscore Elvia, Ingrid underscore ELVIA. And I have a PDF copy of my comic, the graphic novel. It's called Bare Bones. So I have the first issue that you can read in PDF. And I guess we'll provide that in the show notes or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's where you can find me. Or if you're on Facebook, I'm always posting cat stuff, stupid stuff.
Thank you so much for joining us and dishing on all of these things. And I will keep in touch with you. And I look forward to seeing more art and more cats and more comics.
Thanks for having me. It was fun. We'll do it again. Maybe we'll like talk in person sometime. That would be ideal.
Maybe New York in the fall.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. Javits is a hospital now, so we'll see.
Well, best of luck to you, family,
right.
pets.
You.
Talk to you soon.
You as well. Be safe. All right, later.
We'll be back at 7 p.m. with George Pratt. And that will be day 2 of Wonder What a Con.